Hello and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestler. Myself, Andrew Pollard. As you can see, I am joined by a very, very special guest today. A three-time TNA X Division champion, a three-time TNA Tag Team champion, a Super X Cup winner, a former Revolve World Champion, a member of the Bullet Club, and lots more things I could throw that way as well. It is Ace Austin. Ace, how are you doing?
I'm great. Yeah, we could just keep going all day with the accolades. I've held every title in Revolver history. As a matter of fact, I'm the first and the only to do that. So, yeah, three-time X, three-time tag, as Super X, you nailed it right on the head. I'm super proud of everything that I've been able to do with TNA and independently outside of TNA as well. And 2025 looks like a really exciting year.
I mean, yeah, you've been a busy boy already this year, just like looking at the matches you've had, because obviously TNA is your home these days and can keep up the action on that on TNA Plus, which is £9.99 per month and $9.99 per month, I believe, over in the States. So that is your home, but you're busy. You're like everywhere, man.
Yeah. See, TNA Plus has been revamped and updated, and I love TNA. I love all the updates that have been rolling out, and it's the only way that I really watch TNA. I don't have cable or none of that. But yeah, so far it's been ever since Chris's accident. Just getting thrust back into the singles picture has been really. I don't want to say tough to navigate, but I have this like newfound, this like strength, this desire, this fight inside of me. I feel like I'm fighting for something more than just myself right now. And all these matches so far, have been like just game changers for me. The Trent Seven match was like a huge turning point for me mentally, and the Moose match. Unfortunately, the way that it ended is not, the best, but the Moose match, I think, really helped. I'm just taking those steps to the next level, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, that Moose match was a hell of a lot of fun. Of course, Moose is the X Division champion. I mentioned there in the intro that yourself a three-time X Division champion. Moose popped up on NXT last night as we're recording this, a little something with Lexis King. I take it you've still got your eyes on that title at some point again, maybe a four-time champ in the future.
Yeah, I would say I'm keeping one eye on the X Division title and one eye on the world title for sure. Because the world title is the one that got away from me. It's the one I've got left, it's the one I still need to conquer. But I got to keep an eye on the X Division title too, because the X Division title did such great things for me in 2019, and my runs as X Division champion have really helped solidify me as one of those pillar guys at TNA, as one of the greats, and I know also because the X Division title is one path that I could take to get to that world title. So it's important to keep an eye on it and keep it in mind.
Yeah, man. Option C, brother. Option C, as a certain other Austin once coined that phrase. I guess with yourself, when you look at it, like, what's the pressure like when you are X Division champion? Because that is, I mean, there is the world title, which is the biggest prize in the company, but historically, that it's the X Division is just something else, something special. I mean, you look at an AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, the guys that have held this and put that title on the map, the crazy Ultimate X matches. Everybody still remembers, Elix Skipper doing the cage walk, all these insane stuff. What's that pressure like to when you are that champion and you've got all of that to live up to and hopefully top?
Moose isn't wrong when, I recently had the opportunity to speak from the heart on the microphone at TNA, and I got to really talk about what I'm feeling right now and what my goals are. And I was talking about how I have this desire for the world championship and I want to be the face of TNA. And he interrupted me, and he did make a good point about the fact that the X Division title, it really is kind of the flagship title for TNA, not the world title, because the X Division title has been there since day one. The X Division title is the thing that really represents TNA above all else. The world title is the big belt, of course, but that X Division title has the lineage that the world title doesn't. We've gone through changes with the world title. When TNA started, it was the NWA title. So that has a different set of responsibilities. when you're the X Division champion. I think the pressure is really on because anybody can come for you. It's such an open-ended position to be in. And those Ultimate X matches it's probably the most treacherous thing I've ever done. I haven't been in a steel cage match yet, or I don't know what other kind of matches there are. Let's see. I haven't really done any death matches or anything crazy like that. But I think that the X Division title, the Ultimate X match. I think it's like I said, it's just the most unusual position to be in. You can't climb in a ladder. Anybody can step on the rung and climb a ladder, even if you're not so agile. But to climb the trusses and to scale the ropes to the center requires agility and strength that most people don't possess. Even if you look strong, even if you lift weights, if you can't you'd be surprised how many people can pick up really heavy weight, but can't do a pull-up, and you need to be able to handle your own body weight to swing across those wires and hold yourself in the center to get that title. But yeah, being X Division champion, I think is just like, if you're a true TNA, homebody, if you're a true TNA legend, you got to respect the X Division title and really give it the recognition it deserves.
Yeah. And for those keeping up at the moment with TNA, again, TNA Impact, which we can watch here in the UK for £9.99 a month on TNA Plus, you are in a place that you've not really found yourself previously, where you're aligned with the Rascals, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel, which obviously you guys have had your fair share of wars over the years, going up against Wesley, Tariq Igwe, and Tyson DuPont right now. What can we expect in the future there? Because, we've got a few big shows coming up in the very, very near future. Sacrifice in March, you got Unbreakable and Rebellion in April. I guess you've got that trio in your sights at some point there.
Yeah, I think as much as I want to focus on my world title aspirations right now, I do have to squash this beef with Wes, and I do have to keep an eye, especially because Wes is coming over from NXT. I would be remiss if I didn't want to keep my attention, there for the potential crossover opportunities, of course. But it's just such a odd position to be in to be side by side with the Rascals right now. We've had to put a lot of differences aside, and we've had to really, forgive for maybe not forget, but at least try to forgive a lot of the past. Cause it goes deep. Me and Trey and Zach have been, intertwined with each other since even before TNA. We go way back to when we were just cutting our teeth on independence, trying to become stars and trying to get contracts. All of us ended up living together in the same house with there was 13 of us in the house at one time.
Wow.
In Ohio back in 2017. 13 of us moved into this house together to keep the rent cheap, and we all trained together and we all traveled the roads together, and we brought the best out of each other. And even back then, I always found myself across the ring from Trey. Me and Zach didn't have a lot of beef with each other, but me and Trey always seemed to be the ones fighting for something. Because Zach and Wes had their team thing going, and it was successful, pretty early on. And it's kind of been that way ever since. We competed against each other for a spot in Ohio, and then all of us found our way to Impact, and then all of a sudden I got the X Division title 8 months later, and Trey wanted it, and so me and Trey had to fight over that, and then I did some maybe regrettable, maybe questionable things to Trey in the name of maintaining my championship back then. And I'm I guess I'm just grateful that he's willing to, uh, I don't know if he's forgiven me. I don't know if he can, but I'm glad that he's at least willing to, fight by my side right now in the name of what's right. And I think that Chris has a lot to do with it too. All of us have a lot of love and respect for Chris. And I think under the circumstances, we've all been able to just put our differences aside and just, fight for a common goal. And I think that I should definitely keep an eye on them. I should definitely watch my back because I don't know if they can fully trust or if I can fully trust them. And I totally understand if they feel like they can't fully trust me. I can't blame them for that. So, we just have to be careful and keep in mind that we are fighting for the same cause right now. We're fighting for TNA.
But I guess it's forgive and overlook, not necessarily forgive and forget. It's just like, well, we'll forget it. We'll kind of put it to one side for now. I mean, you brought up Chris a few times there. Chris Bey, of course, your tag team partner, which the best news of the year so far was on his birthday, February the 13th, posting a video of himself explaining what had happened, that he'd been in a wheelchair for a little while. They'd been out of the wheelchair for 3 weeks, and then we get to see him stand up and walk towards the camera. Just absolutely inspiring. Just a very emotional clip doing the rounds. Which is, you'd love to see it. And I know obviously Chris said never say never in terms of whether we'll get back to it's pro wrestling, but the main thing is health right now. You talked about how that's been very tough on yourself and on the wrestling business. I mean, the whole wrestling world sending so much love and positivity towards Chris on his road to recovery. How's that like to see him, the progress he's made? Because like I said, we don't know Chris Bey. We're fans, and just to see the man himself, like I said, that video, it's only a 20-second video, but it's the sort of stuff where it just brings you to tears, man.
It's so powerful. And if everybody out there would have been able to see him on day one, that video would have been even more powerful. I'm telling you. I went to the hospital with him immediately after the accident, and I stayed by his side every moment that they would let me for 2 weeks. I didn't leave Detroit. I didn't go nowhere. I didn't do nothing. I stayed right there with him. And I mean, the toughest parts of it just, I literally have goosebumps talking about it right now. It's like he has such a strength. They told him he had a 5 to 10% chance of walking again. And I remember when he got that news, he it brought him down just a little bit, but he did not let it pull him under. He totally pushed that aside, and he said, there's no way that that's going to be me. And I just admire that so much. And it's just, I remember I've been able to see updates, and I've been able to see the progress up to this point. So, it wasn't a surprise to me when he posted that or anything. Of course I knew about it, but, seeing every step of the way so far, it's only been, 3 months since that happened. It's only, October, November, December, January. Yeah. Coming up on 4 months, almost 4 months since that accident. And he's already on his feet. And that's just that's baffling. It's baffling. His strength and his determination is so inspirational. I knew that he was, I knew that he was strong, and I knew that he was capable of anything, but this is what we call putting proof. You never know what somebody's capable of until you really put him in a tough spot like that. You really put him in the trenches. And he proved what he's made of. And it really inspires me to be more than just talk. You got to put your money where your mouth is. And if you say you're strong, and if you say you're capable, you got to do it when the time comes. And he didn't tell me he was going to post that video or anything like that. I didn't know about that ahead of time specifically, but it brought me to tears, when I saw it, and especially on the day of his birthday. Yeah. I bet you that he had that goal in his head. I bet you in his head, he was thinking to himself, I need to be able, my birthday's coming up. I need to be able to when it's time to make the statement, I got to make the statement big. And what a way he did that. So powerful, standing up and standing up on his own 2 feet and walking towards that camera and thanking everybody for the outpouring of love and support, which in itself was baffling. I mean, I had that apartment fire a couple of years ago, and the wrestling community really came together and uplifted me when I lost everything that I owned. And I just remember being so taken aback and just so enveloped by that love and support. It really changed a lot about the way that I, interact with my fans and about the way that I look at this incredible position that we get to be in as wrestlers. And then when this whole thing happened with Chris, it was just like, he got to feel it, and it blew again, it's just like, it's never not surprising to see how much people are willing to do to really, to just lend a hand and lift. And it's just like, it's so beautiful. And I'm so glad that he's back home, and I'm so glad that he's doing so good and he's feeling so good. And I can't wait to see him. I mean, I can't wait to see him soon. He's already on his feet clearly. So there's no reason, there's no way he's not going to do everything he can to at least come back to the locker room, to at least come back and maybe be on camera and say a couple of words. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of time for him to get back in the ring. But I bet you sooner than later, he's going to be right in front of that camera again, doing what he loves.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the progress. I mean, obviously, we didn't know anything because it's not our business as fans. But when you do get the story that comes out and Chris explains what's happened, and there was the spinal fusion, the neck fusion, and the fact that he explains he had to learn to walk again, which is to see from when that match happened to where we are now is just. It's absolutely incredible, man. It's absolutely incredible, inspiring. Inspiring is the word. I keep coming back to it.
Yeah, it was really, really scary, and even though he's finally spoken publicly, there are a lot of details that, I don't know if he's comfortable with me sharing or anything like that, but those first couple of weeks were really, really tough, and seeing him struggle to use his hands. Oh my gosh. I just can't imagine what that would feel like. I think being, paralysis is like probably one of my all-time biggest fears. I think, above anything else, I've worked so hard to be able to control my body in ways that normal people can't, like I practiced parkour when I was a kid, and I learned how to control the parts of my body to be this super athlete, and to be able or to be stuck and in the position that he was in. I can't even imagine it. It's so scary. And, the fact that he just bounced back from that, and he's never had surgery before either. That was his first major surgery. Was this neck surgery, this spinal fusion. That's just unbelievable. So many people would have crumbled underneath that pressure, underneath that tragedy. They would have thought, this is it. This is the rest of my life. I'm screwed. And he looked at it from day one and said, this will not be the rest of my life. It won't be. And it won't be. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I am keeping an eye on the time. I don't want to keep you too long. I mean, we could talk all day on so many topics here, Ace.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, just back to the in-ring action with yourself. I mean, the roster you've got in TNA is just ridiculously stacked now. I mean, just the men's ranks, the women's ranks, the tag teams, and then you've got the whole possibility of NXT. Is there a chance maybe we could see you? We've seen Masha Slamovich recently. We've had Zach and Trey popping up. Moose popped up last night. The Hardys popped up. There's a lot going on. Do you reckon a chance we might see Ace Austin rock up in NXT at some point in the future?
I would say it's more than a chance. I would say, what's the word? On the tip of my tongue. What's the word? I would say it's inevitable.
Nice.
Actually, is what I would say. If you want the best from TNA, then you can't look any further than me. But it's also important not to bring your best guns out first, right? So, the time's going to come. And especially with Wes Lee, jumping over to us and starting trouble with me. That's just not a really good idea on his part, because I don't think he wants me to come over there and embarrass him, because that wouldn't be good for him and his brand, right?
Yeah.
I think that this whole partnership thing has been so exciting and so beautiful, and 2025 is a really exciting year. And I think that, like I said, when TNA is ready to put their best foot forward, I'm the pillar. I'm the pole. I'm ready to do it.
Yeah, it's crazy to think you're only 27 years of age still, and you've been doing this for 10 years. It's like, yeah, you're just scratching the surface, man. Absolutely. Of course, we can keep up with what you're doing in TNA, as mentioned, on TNA Plus, which is £9.99 in the UK and $9.99 in the US, I believe, which is a fantastic service to use. I'm a big fan of that one. Ace, any final thoughts before we wrap up? And also, how can people keep up to date with you on the socials?
Oh, yeah. My socials are at @the_Ace_Austin on Twitter and Instagram. And I don't think I'm really, using in many other socials right now. But that's where everything is going on. And TNA Plus, as you said, is the perfect way to keep up to date with TNA. It's exactly how I keep up with TNA. And I think ever since we redid the app, it is just such a great platform to check all that stuff out on. I think I keep saying it, but 2025 looks really exciting for so many of us, and I'm excited for this ride. It's going to be good.
Yeah, shaping up to be a big one, man. I feel like we've got a lot still to come. I mean, we're just in the middle of February as we're recording this. I think that by the end of the year, there'll be a lot of conversations that you'll be in.
I'm 1 week away from my birthday. I'll be turning 28, and then April will be my 10-year wrestling anniversary. So that's exciting. I'm just under 10 years at the moment. So, my 10th year is going to be huge. Biggest one yet. Biggest one every year.
Yeah, cannot wait to see it. As always, thanks for giving up some time to come and join us here, Ace. It's been an absolute blast. This has been WhatCulture Wrestling. I've been Andrew Pollard. That has been Ace Austin. Go and check it out. TNA Plus and keep up to date with all things Ace is doing these days, all the schools he's cracking. And